Now, we're talking pensions.
We are indeed. Are you, like me, one of those people who glaze over when the subject of pensions gets mentioned? Well, if you are, you'd be very interested in this, because we basically got, I suppose, pensions for dummies.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we all forget is that possibly, other than our homes, our pension is the second biggest and most important investment that we will make in our lives. And,
people don't see it that way, though.
No, they don't see it like that. Mind you, as you get a little older, like me, and rapidly advancing middle age approaches, you suddenly go, oh dear, have I done enough or done the right thing? And Mark Haskins, who is a pension advisor with Chartered Financial Solutions, is going to take us through pensions for idiots, and the idiot being me. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark. How are you doing?
Would you explain to people just how and why pensions are so important?
OK, well, in terms of why a pension is so important, I suppose the biggest single factor is that what you're really looking to do is protect against a drop in your income and your standard of living at retirement. So,
and of course, when you retire, everybody takes a cut in salary because you're not working anymore.
Well, I mean, if you think the current state pension is around about €11,000, and the average industrial wage is €33,000. So if you were retiring tomorrow and you've been on the average industrial wage today, you're looking at a two-thirds drop.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely massive.
And that's replaced by the state pension, which all you have is a state pension, which, when you think about it, is actually a pittance.
It's €200 a week, and it's really only designed, there's no luxuries there. It's simply, to meet the necessities of life.
And of course, it doesn't even do that.
It doesn't even do that,
And also,
correct.
the other thing we have to bear in mind is that there is a pensions time bomb coming down the road in twofold. One, in that people haven't prepared adequately enough.
Correct.
And also, apparently, our government may have difficulty in meeting the state pensions.
Yeah, well, currently, today, for every 6 people working, there's 1 pensioner. By 2050, there'll only be 2 people working for every pensioner. So I suppose the concern that some people have is, where's the money going to come from to pay my pension and your pension when it comes to us retiring?
So we have to put it away.
Yeah, I mean, the government has made some provision, but 1% of GDP, but it simply isn't going to be enough.
OK, Mark, 2 questions. When should you start saving for a pension?
Okay.
And how do you go about it on a really basic level? If you know nothing about pensions, what's the first steps you take? OK,
in terms of when you should start and how much you should contribute, I suppose we look at it from like this is, what income do you need, or are you looking to replace that retirement? When do you want to retire? And let's say if you're 30 years of age today and you want to retire at age 60, for every €10,000 of a pension or an income you want, it would cost you roughly about €160 a month gross.
OK.
But if you leave that till age 40, the cost doubles. So it's really important that you start to fund early, because you can see the cost ramps up as we go forward. And also, we're living longer. So we need to have a bigger pool of money to last for a longer time.
So
well, that's true.
20s or 30s, or as soon as possible?
As soon as possible.
As soon as you can afford to?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to bear in mind, like, people have to live. I mean, like Mark said earlier on, the first thing that people want to do is provide a home for themselves and their family. But you must look at the pension side, as soon as you can, really, because it makes the burden, less as you get older.
Well, of course, it is also a factor of youth that you don't think about it, because you're in your 20s, your 30s, you're at your peak. You think you're invincible, you're invulnerable, it'll never happen to you. So you think, actually, I can do it. There is one small advantage in leaving it slightly longer or doing it later. A, that you would have more money because you'd be financially better off, but also you will get more tax benefit. Because you'll be putting more lump sums in. OK, well, in terms of the actual tax relief, I mean, if you're a top-rate taxpayer, whether you're putting in €100 a month or €1,000 a month, you get, a break at 41%. So if you're putting in €100, it's only costing you 59. It is true to say that as you get older, the government allow you to contribute a greater degree of your income and claim tax relief on that. But still, that's no answer to getting started early. No.
Okay. So, Mark, where do you go? People at home thinking, right, OK, I'm going to do it, I'm going to get up there, I'm going to start my pension. What's your first port of call? OK, well, I mean, the 3 things that affect any pension are, how much you put in, obviously, where you invest it, and how much somebody like me takes out of it, or how much the life companies charge you. So we would recommend that you take some independent and expert advice on that. OK, so where do you go to get that advice?
Yeah, I want to ask you that question. Impartial advice, because I've been advised on 2 occasions by friends and subsequently discovered that both of them got, in one case, the first 2 years of my payments basically went to pay the commission of one person. I was extremely unhappy about it. Extremely unhappy about it. And they didn't say that. And afterwards said to me, oh, well, I thought you knew. Somebody had added it up for me and said, you're getting that before it starts to work for me at all, So...
Well, I mean, you should talk to an authorised advisor, so somebody who's obliged, not just morally, but legally obliged to provide you with the best independent advice.
So, Mark, is there a website or a phone number, or where do people
the financial
go?
regulator, itsyourmoney.ie, you know, and the financial regulator can give you a list of all the authorised advisors.
Great website, actually.
Yeah,
itsyourmoney.ie. Okay.
It's very good.
Yeah.
But it's crucial that you get some independent advice. And in terms of the charges, I mean, there's many ways these can be structured. Maybe a fee structure, or like Mark said, the commission basis. But the thing for you is you didn't know, so you need to know exactly what it's costing you. So,
can I also ask you about that, Mark? In terms of how the fee structure is laid out in front of you, sometimes, with all due respect, people like you can baffle people like me with bullshit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it sounds and seems very reasonable, but then I tot it up a couple of years later and I go, God almighty, how much did he get?
Well, what I'd say is just simply ask the pension consultant you're sitting down with, if I give you €100, exactly how much of that €100 is being invested from day one?
How much of it are you getting?
Yeah, ask him. And we've no problem sharing
And
information.
what should you be told? What's a good answer on that?
Well, I mean, there's two charges. There's usually a fund management charge with the various banks or the life assurance companies will charge you for managing your money, typically between 1% and 2% per annum. The riskier the fund and the more research required, that it tends to be a little higher. So then, in terms of the charge that someone like me is going to charge you, if it's a fee, it should be very transparent. You know, 100% of your money should be invested from day one, and the fee is X. So you either agree with that or you don't. If it's a commission basis, again, what percentage of my income is being invested from day one? So if that's 98%, as far as you're concerned, somebody like me is getting paid 2%. In reality, I may be getting paid a lot more than that. We have no problem in sharing that with
So
our
what's
clients.
being invested and how much will it cost me? They're the questions.
Exactly.
Okay, well, look,
Okay.
this is literally the first step, and you will be backwards because it's something that we want to take people through. Because
It is very. I find it so confusing. Like, I have a pension, but I don't know what's happening to it or what it's doing or
pension
anything.
is merely a savings plan that you get tax relief on.
I know.
It should not be any
It
more
shouldn't be,
complicated
should
than
it?
that. Absolutely not.
Okay, well, that's the first step, at least now. Okay, so it's not something to be afraid of.
Absolutely.
And something that we do all need. Okay, Mark, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you, Mark. We'll see you again.